We ask everybody all the time, give us something you want us to talk about. And today, man, like this one comes directly from our fans, from our followers. They want to talk about cyberbullying and bullying. And so I was like, let's
Woo.
go there. It's like
Yes.
let's do it. So, today we're gonna talk through cyberbullying. We'll talk about old school bullying. We're gonna talk about cancel culture. We're gonna talk about it all, man, because
Okay.
it's a real thing. And when I was doing research on the topic, Rudy, man, I saw this stat that I found crazy. Social media in all forms really hit a peak. Like the real climax of social media was like 2016, right? Because we had all the different platforms that finally were converging and everybody's hitting them all up. In 2016, 33% of the people said they experienced some type of cyber or social media bullying, right?
Wow.
25, that number was 60% of people. So it's no longer a trend that cyberbullying is a thing. It's a real crisis.
It's a
And
part of reality. Yes.
yeah, and you
Part of
know me,
seeing.
man. I'm a huge mental health advocate. I do a lot in the community on mental health. And I will say from what I've seen when I talk to people from teenagers to people in their 60s, social media causes a lot of anxiety and stress, bro. Because it's not like old school where you go to school and that's kind of where it lives and it starts. Like you get attacked everywhere on social media, right? Like you're at work and all of a sudden you get notifications. You're at home in your private time, you're getting notifications. You're traveling in the airplane, you're getting notifications, man. Like this stuff is real, bro. What do you think
Yeah.
about it?
Well, I think, it's a big, huge part of our society now. Like everything happens through social media. I
Yeah.
mean, before you could probably be on a street corner or in an office building and talking in a small circle about a person that you dislike, even if you were the protagonist. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Or the antagonist or whatever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, social media broadens that scope of where you can reach people. You know what I mean? Now, let's say you and I have a beef, we go to the same school. Well, guess what? I don't have to see you for everybody to know how I feel about you. I don't have to say it in front of everybody in the park or in the yard. I could just post something and say, I don't like Mick XYZ, whoop, whoop, whoop. And now you hearing it, whether you chose to follow me, block me, or whatever, it's still gonna get to you. That's the strongest part about cyberbullying. You can't stop it if someone really intends to get to you.
Yeah, and we're starting to see it all the time. I mean, I'm not as active on Instagram. Like I'm very active on LinkedIn. I don't do anything on Facebook. But when I'm on Instagram, I start to see it, right? Like I start to see the people that are getting attacked because it's real easy, Rudy, to hide behind a screen, man. Like it's real easy to hide behind this phone right here.
Yeah.
Be real big and bold. And I think that's given you can be faceless. Let me say it that way. You can be faceless where when with us growing up we talk about school, we talk about going into the barbershop. It's me and you.
Yeah.
Right, it's
One
me and
on
you.
one. Yeah.
It's me and you, and you might have your crew with you, and it could be 5 on 1, but it's still gonna be some licks. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna
Absolutely.
be something, whether those licks are verbal or whatever, right? It's gonna be some licks that we share. You
Yeah.
can be faceless. I mean, how many people know people that have like 10 social media accounts and they're just creating them to go in and attack people or to cyber stalk people or to do whatever, and it's driving people literally crazy, man. Like again, I see it when I'm in the community or when I'm doing mental health events or when I'm volunteering at mental health institutions. 55% of the people that are there, it started somewhere with cyber or social bullying, man. And it's just like they can't escape it because now it's in your psyche. It's real
Yes.
easy to say just turn it off,
Yeah.
but we're all human. We all, whether we want to admit it or not, we seek feedback. Whether that
Yes.
feedback is positive or whether that feedback is negative, we're addicted to the feedback because social media has given us instant feedback, whether we
Yeah.
want it or not.
And one of the worst things, Mick, man, is when someone attacks someone. Like, just imagine someone put something out there negative. Now, that's bad in itself. That's just the gaslighting effect and everything. But even worse is when other people double down and comment and like it and have opinions about it as well.
Right.
That's when the bullying goes to a whole nother level. It's like, they get their minions, say, hey, listen, I'm about to post this about this guy. I need you to comment on it. Or people are already ready to comment negatively. You see a lot of that in the news or on everything, like even with celebrities. Somebody says something bad about a certain celebrity, everybody piles on. It's terrible.
Yeah. How do we avoid it though, man? Like what are some tips that Rudy Rush has for people to, I don't want to say distance themselves from it, but to not let it get to your psyche?
Now, you actually have the secret key and you don't even know you have it. I'm going to tell you this. And I'm not being funny. It's about relationships, being close to someone. And people always kind of take you away from marriage, try to make you seem even in, and that's another way of bullying people even in thinking that they shouldn't be married. Marriage is something, or relationships, I should say, because I've been in a relationship where it kept me away from social media. When you're with a partner and you're doing things like, you're eating together, sharing moments and laughing, vacationing, it cuts down on the time that you have being single on that thing, looking for validation, looking for other people doing things that are like, kind of like what you're doing. But I felt like, being in a relationship, it took me off the phone for sometimes a 16 to 24-hour period because you engage with the person. So that's one step. I think that's the major place, is having a life that kind of takes you away. Even being a parent can do that as well. But just having something to take you away. It's not just work, because work kind of has you going drifting into social sometimes when you have minor breaks and you get locked in. But having a relationship is cool.
I think having, and whether it's relationship, marriage, whatever, just having your circle or being active in something that's social media distracting. I'd
Yes.
also say this, like, and I know it's hard because everybody's been in this craze of posting everything that you do all the time, and everybody thinks it's cute. And if you're not making money from it, I'd say that's the thing that you should stop. And if you're not making money from what you're doing on social, like, turn off comments. I know it's real easy to want the validation, but just turn off the comments, because I think people spend far much more time than they need to in
Yeah.
the comments, when if it's something you really wanna do and if you got a circle, throw it in a group chat. You know what I mean? Like, throw it in a group chat where it's not public.
Yeah.
You know that those people are in your corner, and if you are getting something that you don't agree with, it's from people that you trust, right? Like, every feedback doesn't have to be positive. Like, you know that about me. Like, I crave and want, like, hey, tell me where to improve. We don't have to agree on the things that we talk about. We
Yeah.
can totally disagree, but I respect it when it's people I trust.
And that's
If I don't know you and you got something to say, like, it's really hard for me to
And that's what I
respond.
wanted to ask you actually, because in the line of business that we both are in, we're open to public scrutiny. And I know I can say I've been fortunate enough that a lot of people like my show. They like how I interact with people afterwards. They just kind of, so it's been for me not that big of a deal having to deal with people like, yo, you suck and this, or really coming at you where you feel like you have to defend them. There's been times where I had to step toward that line and pull myself back, like, because I really wanted to engage. Like, who you think you're talking to? So I want to ask you, because you do reach the masses just as much as a comedian or a
Yeah.
music artist. You deal with people all that, encountered that.
Yeah, I mean, there are lots of times. I mean, I get feedback quite a bit, if I'm speaking, if I'm doing a workshop, if I'm doing spokesperson work, like, I get feedback. But I learned a long time ago from mentors that I have, right? Like, if you're a millionaire, and I'm not saying I'm a millionaire, this is the analogy, right? Like, if you're a millionaire, do you want to take financial advice from somebody with $20 in the bank, right?
Mm,
So be careful where you're getting your advice from, because everybody has opinions, but if you're not an expert in that field, like, I don't pay attention to that opinion. Like, you're just somebody that just likes to give feedback, right? And then a lot of times it tells me who you are as a human being. It
yeah,
tells me about why you are where you are.
yeah,
And I,
yeah,
I just use that as an analogy, right? But for instance, if I'm on stage, or let's just go to Rudy, right? Rudy's a comedian. You're on stage. You're gonna take advice from somebody that's never been on stage before, like,
never,
that's never had to
never,
work the crowd before, that's never
never.
been on that side where you got like 6,000 eyeballs looking at you, and half of those eyeballs are wanting you to mess up. Like, it's
Yeah,
a little bit different on who you're getting advice from and who you're getting feedback from. And so
yes.
that's my advice for people, is like, pay attention of who you're getting feedback from, and then determine if that person is qualified, right, for you to receive and internalize that feedback. You're gonna
So
get it,
yeah.
but what's that other person's qualifications?
But we're dealing with the more refined Rudy Rush, the more refined Nick Hunt. Like, we've been in the game for a minute and we had to deal with it initially. And luckily for us, we didn't start our careers. Our career started before the social media boom. So we kind of had some, on detractors. If you had someone who didn't like what you were doing, you kind of dealt with them at your show, at your functions, and things like that. So, at what point did you actually, say to yourself, like, I'm not going to allow these outside influences to have an effect on me and how I think? Because I've seen some of my colleagues in radio and in comedy be very affected by one person's words. They could have 10 great comments, and then one negative will turn them upside down to where they even try to change who they are.
I think one, that's human nature, right? When we talk about social media and the impact, we talk about the world and the impact, right? Like, think about reviews. Businesses get Google reviews and they get a bunch of 5 stars, but it's that one star that gets somebody fired, right? One time. Doesn't matter. Sally got 10,000 great comments. Sally gets 2 bad reviews and Sally's out the door. Sally's talking to the owner about what's going on. So for me, how do I deal with it, man? Like, I just, one, I have thick skin. Two, I let people know I appreciate feedback. But again, like, I'm gonna check the qualifications of the people giving me the feedback. So and I also have matured to where, like, I'm not gonna call somebody out on the qualifications because I also know that most of the time people want you to engage with them because now you're boosting their credibility. Right.
Yes.
So you have nothing to gain by doing that. Like Rudy Rush has nothing to gain by interacting with, these are my words and my words only, some bum who only wins by Rudy interacting with them, right?
But I'll do it. I'll do it. And listen, and I've done it, and I've done it, and I felt there was one post I made, like I literally like a year ago, Mick. Some dude said something, and it just went there with me.
Yeah.
It went there, and I wrote a whole long thing, or I made a whole long video. And before I pressed send, I thought about it. I said, where is this going? Where is this going to initially? Because you and I have the opportunity to have, like, we don't, people's access to us is very simple. It's just coming to a show, even being outside of, in front of a venue. Somebody could be right here that I have a problem with, and I won't even know who they are. So I
Yeah.
had to take that into consideration as well. Like, what are you ready to drum up and start? And so, I had to calm myself down. But yeah, it's very hard not to react to someone being disrespectful. And like you said, they're out there. And so, what happens with the kids when that's happening in school or happening in college, or
Yeah.
when they're young and 20 something in the workforce and that's happening and they don't have the fortitude or the mental capacity to take it like we do?
Nah, and that's brilliant, man. And that kind of leads to my next stat that I want to discuss, and that I want every parent right now to stop what you're doing and focus on this because this is about your children. 74% of United States teenagers believe social media platforms are doing a poor job addressing bullying on social media or cyberbullying. 81% say the same thing about elected officials, meaning that your city councilors and your
Mm,
state governors and all that, like, no one's doing a really good job of addressing cyberbullying. So I'm
mm,
gonna talk to parents because those are stats, you can look them up. Like, that's not me making it up. You've gotta be active in asking your children questions. You've got to protect as much as you can what your kids are doing, and I know we don't feel like that should be us and that our kids are gonna say, "Mom, Dad, why are you all up in my business?" and all that, but our kids don't know how to cry out for help until it's too late, and
mm,
sometimes it's too late, and you all know what I mean by that, right?
mm.
So, as parents, we've got to make sure we are addressing cyberbullying, which means that sometimes parents, it's your doggone kid that is the cyberbully.
Indeed.
Sometimes parents, you might even be the cyberbully, but you've got to be able to think about your children, create those safe places and environments for them because you have no idea. If 75%, 74, almost 75%, that means that if there's 4 parents that are listening to the show, 3 out of the 4, your kids are experiencing cyberbullying online, and you're not aware of.